I'm Madeline Harvey. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. In our video today, we're going to talk about 3 secrets to unlocking a more beautiful voice. So if you like today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or click that subscribe button below. I would love to see you here more often. Before we get into it, I just want to also let you know that we have launched vocal evaluations as a service on my website. So if you're preparing for an upcoming audition or performance, or maybe you just want some feedback in your vocal development, then visit me at my website below in the description for more information. Okay, so the clip that you're about to see was taken from a live lesson that was shot earlier today. If you want to watch the entire live and participate in the exercises, then I invite you to click that join button below or the provided link if you're on your phone and become a member of this channel. As a member, you'll have exclusive access to all of our lives that we do every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So again, just click the join button. It's only $4.99 a month, and your contribution helps to support our channel. That way we can continue to deliver awesome content for you. You ready to get into this? Here we go. Hi guys! Happy Monday. I can't believe it's Monday already. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and that your week is off to a great start. Thank you so much for being with me today. It's a very, very nice topic that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to get a little technical today, although we do have a couple of things to consider. The topic of today's live is the secrets, plural, to a beautiful singing voice. But I just want to go ahead and say that we all have definitions for what we find beautiful. So there. It is really more about you curating your taste, you feeling like you can express yourself as fully and as authentically as possible. I happen to really believe that a voice that is free is already beautiful simply because it's free. And I also believe that an authentic voice, BB said something about this prior to our lesson today. And I agree. I happen to think an authentic voice is inherently beautiful, even if it doesn't happen to meet, I suppose, the standards for what a lot of people agree is beautiful. Having said all that, there are patterns. We do recognize specific patterns in what we tend to find collectively as beautiful. So there are 3 things that I want to use to open up today's lesson with. But I first want to ask you guys, when you listen to some of your favorite singers, how do you discern beauty? How is it that you're discerning beauty? Now, let's see if we can derive this from a technical standpoint, because I do feel that we really do feel that someone being their most authentic self is inherently beautiful, especially if it's a little eccentric. But is there a technical pattern to what you find is beautiful? Is there something that maybe your top artists that you really, really love and admire, is there something that they give that maybe is a pattern in how you identify what beauty is? So there are 3 things. I love Sonia said the mood they give. Aha, that is a big tell. And it does bode, like what style are they singing? Like a jazz artist is going to give a different mood than a country artist. Although there are similarities between what they're doing that tends to be beautiful. My Soul Cold Life says ease, flow, appropriate ornamentation, meaning to the song. I love you guys. Oh, Sonia, a weird quality like Bjork. Yeah, like she's very special, isn't she? She's so weird that it's just like, that's unconventionally beautiful. But I cannot look away in an appreciative sort of BB, when I feel their emotions, when they switch up their tones and styles and you can't predict what they'll do next. Very, very good. Mary says, I love raw. All right, I really appreciate you guys giving this feedback. Yeah, there are patterns that we can recognize in terms of what we constitute as beautiful. So we want to see if we can focus the voice in on that. Camille says, when the voice doesn't get in the way of what they're communicating. Yes, girl. Yes, absolutely. I get really impatient when it feels like someone's being distracted by their own voice or when they're thinking too much, because I just want to experience them with them. But there are three main technical things that we can zero our voice in on today to help us discern or create a little bit more beauty in our voice. So they are this. Number one is presence. I love that you guys honed in right on it. Their mood, their vibe, their energy, their presence. But I'm speaking technically, but it doesn't deviate too much from that. What I mean by presence is, how are they embodying their own sound? How is the sound at home in them? And number two is vowel sounds. So Dennis, this one's for you. You had a couple questions about some vowels here back, and I wanted to make sure that we highlighted this. Now, I don't necessarily mean that we need to be strident with our vowels. Let me see, a little strict, like super, super strict with our vowels. But we may have to start there to give us a template to work from. And then the third one is movement. We do not tend to find jerky movements beautiful. When we look at beauty, something that's beautiful, it has an elegance to it. It has movement, regardless of the genre that they're singing. Especially, let's take something like rock that tends to be very raw, like Mary said, very raw, very electric, high energy. When an artist can still handle that kind of intensity with a sense of movement, it's so exciting. So exciting. So let's see if we can take our time today and break each one of these down to an exercise. So the first one that we want to get into is presence. Now, even though presence it is the hardest one on the list. I wanted to start with this one. Hardest one on the list because it tends to be a little aloof. It's like happiness or joy. We're not always happy or joyful. Sometimes we sort of find a moment or two of that. But I want to talk specifically about tonal presence. So I'm getting into a specific on tone that will get you started. You're looking for something that your voice can rest in. Remember the tessitura, the place within the range where the voice is resting. It's like the sweet spot. So you may have more presence in, let's say, the back here. So if we were doing like the word happy, so if we say happy very slowly, happy. Now that tone in and of itself isn't exactly beautiful. But what I'm looking for is a spot that feels extra pingy. Want to see if you can find those pingy places in the voice. So let's try that one more time just with the word happy. You don't necessarily have to try it on my pitches, but see if you can tinker around and see if up the back here feels like a pingy spot for you. Let's give it a try. Happy. Happy. Yeah, that all feels very good. Right, I'm just exploring that ping spot. And I know I'm just recalling so many times when I've demonstrated this, especially akin to beauty, and people go, It's got some edges to it, doesn't it? But it carries energy. And as long as it carries energy, it's going to help create presence. And it resonates in that spot. So you may have a ping spot or pingy spots that is in the back here. And that's good. You want to highlight that using any broad vowel. Ah, e, I. But you may want to move your sound forward here. Now, I would say, ¿por qué no los dos? Let's do both. We need both the back and the front. Not congruent, just happy with each other, harmonious with each other. We need to have those resonating spaces open and available so that we can contrast those tones, right? So specifically, we're going to get into a space here called the nasal lilt. Can you say for me very slowly the word alone? So like alone. Good. Now, can you feel right when you start to hit that kind of spot that there is a resonating chamber right through here, right inside the cheeks and the nose space. Yeah, good. Now, if that's weird, if you don't happen to notice it on the word alone, imagine for me that you've put a marshmallow in your mouth, and you're just going to hold it in your mouth and wrap your lips around that open space. So it's like or that you've eaten something good. Hear that presence. It's like in my head, it feels like my whole head is like hollow at that point, and it just reverberates and it resonates. So that's a good tell that I've hit a sort of sweet spot. So let's be in keeping with that really quickly. It almost reminds me of like cows. I grew up on a farm, so a lot of that kind of sound happening in the backyard. Always, always, always. So we're going to try it right here. Now really keep it playful. You don't want the jaw to get really tensed, but you are noticing that the jaw is sliding forward just a little bit. So if you need to take a break every now and again and just give your jaw a little massage, that's okay. This is just a part of that. I'm going to hold the marshmallow in my mouth as I'm creating a little bit more of that ping resonance. So let's just walk it down. Turning it up a little bit so I can hear. So if we go, hear that presence. You guys feel that? Just going to highlight it here. It's very forward, very pingy, and it takes very, very little effort for me here, simply because I've sort of concentrated that sound within that ping spot for me. Let's give that E flat another go. Here we go. Hold the marshmallow, wrap the lips around. Good. Now you may notice that you will have to negotiate a little bit with that jaw as you go higher. You don't necessarily have to over-exaggerate the holding of the marshmallow. We just want you to be able to feel this resonating space. So anything that's like long, So make it long. But you really want to concentrate that breath, almost like you're blowing a horn out of your nose. Because you can't, not going, ma. You're not opening the mouth. So the air is coming out through the nose. This helps to create a sort of shared resonance between the nose space and the mouth space. Let's give that a try. Nice and long. Really, really concentrate and just keep that, keep the face long. Why the long face? And then blow like you're blowing your nose. Again, it's all about any sort of ping space. We tend, as a community, as a musical community, we tend to think that which is rounded is a little bit more beautiful than that which is like block cut and thrown down rough. It's got some edges to it. But I would really encourage you to play with this. And this is just sort of a tonal shape. We're going to get into it a little bit more in depth when we play with vowels here in a second. But just really feel long face. And then blow out the nose, this B flat. One more. Good. So just as a default, trying to get that presence going on, that air focused and targeting towards this sort of nasal lilt. When you hit the nasal lilt, just as a general rule of the way that our skulls are put together, when you hit the nasal lilt, the front, sometimes it's called the mask, it tends to really open up those sinus cavities and create a sense of a tonal presence. Sometimes we get even the presence of what's called an overtone, where we can hear both nose and mouth. So if I go like, you just hear the nose, right? It's like as if I'm just operating here. But if I go, no, you hear a little bit more of the mouth, right? So you can hear a sharing of a resonating spaces, which always sounds a little bit more complex, a little bit more nuanced than just a one-dimensional kind of tone. I'm hoping this helps, but the best way to work this is just to experiment. So as we said before, if you've got a ping spot back here, hi, that can sound really good, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be just in the front, but just simply by opening these spaces up, their blend is a little bit more natural because it's more familiar. My so-called life, this feels so good. Yeah, it does. It really just does. It feels nice just to bounce some sound around the skull space. So you can just play. My definition of tonal presence is when I can hear the dome of my skull. Like I can hear the dome of my skull. So if I go, sorry guys, I'm struggling with allergies today. I'm going to take a sip of water. So if I start narrow, can kind of feel interiorly that sort of dome of the skull. So that's where I want to sort of build around. But I would start there and then sort of open it from there. Cool. So that is presence. It's just highest degree of vibrations, least amount of effort. That. Dennis says, will my pink spots always be in the same spot? It depends, because notice how we're positioning very specific position. So that position is helping a pink spot. But ideally, I want to say yes. Like singers, you guys, as you experience your voice, you will inevitably notice that some notes feel pingier than others. Even if they're right next to each other, it's like B might not feel so pingy, but C does, and they're just half a step away. It's because as it climbs through the skull, it hits a different spot. Good. But yes, we are looking for a sort of habitual getting to know the inside of the space, so we get maximum amount of vibration with least amount of effort. Our next, Dennis, this one's for you, buddy, is vowels. Now, we could have a long conversation about vowels. And I think most of you guys know how I feel about vowels. They're important, but they are not the most important.